What is going on, guys and girls? Level Up here at OnPointGaming's OnPointTactical. We are at the lovely test range out on the Parasol Storm Islands, but we are going to talk about proper use of cover in a combat situation. Now, I see this all the time. Players will run up right up against this concrete and try and use the peek mechanic. Okay, well, if you peek here and you're trying to hit this left guy, you need to aim at him through the wall to get your actual lean to only lean you out that far. And you're better off if you can get as far behind the wall as possible to do a quick peek, because if you're aiming out around the wall, you're going to be either exposed to a different angle or not engaging the proper enemy. I also see this. I'll get right up against the edge and then peek and lean. Well, that means that the entire right side of your body is exposed, and you're probably going to die. Now, I always say, I've said this before, going into the crouch position is worth a lot more in the form of cover than staying in the standing upright position, because whenever you peek, you can literally peek just a minimal part of your person and get your targets dealt with. If you go into the prone, there is no lean mechanic, and you have to crawl out. Which honestly, if you're in the prone and you're using cover, then you are a noob and you're not displaying that you have any skill whatsoever. But I always say to stay back as far as you can and still be able to use the lean mechanic. So you got to be, you can be reasonably far back, but that is just going to make your target, like their target of you, a lot smaller whenever you peek if you are standing back a bit. So that is one definite thing that is good for proper use of cover. Now, another thing for proper use of cover is to know what kind of cover you're hiding behind, because this concrete slab has rebar in it, but it can be shot out really easily to both your and your enemy's advantage. So if you ever come up behind a concrete wall and you need to shoot this guy, but you know that he's waiting for you to quick peek, just blow a hole through the wall, which can take a second, and then you have a window to deal with him, which in my case I'm out of ammo and I use my 1911, which is totally fine. We'll go over here to the ammo and get some ammo. But I think that it is often neglected how important good use of your cover is, as well as having good cover. One thing I never see is using vehicles as cover, because while yes, they are usually getting shot at, they are entirely bulletproof. They make fantastic pieces of cover whenever they are in a road or in a high pressure situation. And as a tank driver, I typically would try and drive in the third person unless I'm engaging an enemy tank. But if I'm in a situation where there's just people everywhere, I'm gonna probably try and drive kind of slow and let the infantry keep up with me behind me, so that I know that they have something to hide behind that can keep them alive and we can make a good push to the next objective. I don't see that put into use, but it is definitely a decent mechanic to be, well, not really a mechanic, a decent tactic to be put to use. And I also see hiding behind the plywood and peeking out from there's no point in peeking out behind this plywood. Okay? Just shoot it out. That will save yourself a bunch of time, and also typically surprise your targets if you just blow through it and start shooting them. Now, one thing that is also often neglected is your sensitivity. A lot of players will customize it once, but they won't fine-tune it. I have fine-tuned my sensitivity, and I have found that at 60 sensitivity I am quick enough to turn around that I can drop people trying to stab me, but I also don't have it too high so that I can actually track targets at a distance pretty darn well. And it's all a matter also of getting used to the gun that you're using. This ACR pulls to the left, so tracking a target to the right is a little weird. But, if all else fails, you always have your trusty sidearm. So, this has been my sort of pro tips, I guess you would say, on proper use of cover in the battlefield, different types of cover, vehicle cover, different ways of peeking and leaning and making the most out of cover. So as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'm LevelUp here at OnPointGaming's OnPoint Tactical. Have a good one and take it easy.